We had the State of the Union speech. We've had Trump's acquittal. Boy, this has sure been a busy week. I seem to say that every week, but it really has had a lot of interesting topics that we could talk about. But there's one specific event from the State of the Union speech that I really want to talk about more specifically. No, it's not Nancy Pelosi ripping up the speech. I know a lot of you may think that. It's something different. I'm your host, Jared Dyson, and this is the Closet Conservative Podcast. As I said in the opening, it certainly seems like every week is filled with some great topics to discuss, and this week was definitely no different. President Trump delivered a remarkable State of the Union address, and if you watch the address, it might have been one of his best speeches ever. I mean, he filled it with facts and figures. A lot of it was hard to argue. He's had proven results with his policies. He's been very successful with a lot of those policies. The state of our union is strong. It's really hard for Democrats to argue that. Even if you don't like Trump, the State of the Union is strong. But Democrats want to argue that. They want to talk about it and make a big deal about it. And one big topic was Nancy Pelosi's reaction. And obviously a lot of people would think that's what I would be dealing with in the podcast this week. I really don't want to go in depth with that, but I will make a couple comments. First of all, it was childish. How do you react in such a way where it's basically a temper tantrum? It was premeditated. It was caught on video that she was pre-ripping the papers. And what did ripping the papers accomplish anyway? Other than saying that she really didn't care. She had no desire to participate in the State of the Union address and participate in a historic event. But again, that's another topic. Then on Wednesday, President Trump was acquitted by the Senate. And there's a lot of talk about Mitt Romney and his vote. And others may want to say that I should have dealt with that on the podcast, but again, I don't want to go in depth with that today. Some have called for Romney to be ousted from the Republican Party. I don't think that's necessarily the way to go. I really don't see that happening. Why? Romney's going to pay the price in Utah. If you look at the recent poll data, his approval rating is lower than President Trump. So I really don't think Romney makes it through the next election, and quite honestly, he may not even run for re-election given what he's done. But what I really want to talk about, it started on Monday. Rush Limbaugh announced that he had cancer, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So I want to start off and point that out. I wouldn't wish that on Nancy Pelosi, AOC, any of the communist Democrats that are running for the presidency. No one deserves to go through the struggle of cancer and go through the dealing with cancer. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but you would think the left actually would wish it on someone based on their response to what President Trump did in the State of the Union address. Trump chose to honor Rush Limbaugh with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and this really set off the left. You would have thought that he committed the ultimate crime again. It was Ukraine all over again. I imagine they're going to introduce impeachment articles against him next week for giving Rush Limbaugh a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Media outlets everywhere have complained about Rush Limbaugh receiving the award. He wasn't a social justice warrior. He wasn't a popular movie star. He wasn't any of the things that they felt should deserve this award. He's done nothing but promote conservative viewpoints and contribute to conservative politics. And he's done it for many years in many a media outlet. NBC said it was fitting that Trump gave Limbaugh the award because they're both from the same backing. They're both bigots. They're both racist. They both are harsh in their language and their tone. The LA Times called Rush Limbaugh a bigot. MSNBC said it was absolutely nauseating to see that he received the award. CNN said, why were we giving an award to a conspiracy theorist and a racist? Then there was AOC, and in her wonderful wisdom, she decided to speak out on a video and talk about Rush Limbaugh receiving this Presidential Medal of Freedom award. I want to play you just a little clip of what AOC said in this. So prepare yourself. This is deep theology from AOC, but this is what she said in the video.
Reaction to Rush Limbaugh receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. First of all, the Presidential Medal of Freedom is an extraordinarily sacred award. We're talking about putting someone on the same level as Rosa Parks, for example, in terms of their contributions to American progress.
Okay, I want to stop right there. An extraordinarily sacred award. Now, I hope you caught that. I mean, this is a sacred award. That's important. Remember that as we continue forward. But here's how she continued.
Rush Limbaugh is a virulent racist. But even just on top of that, to do it in the middle of a State of the Union and not even dignify it with its own ceremony as it has, there's all sorts of norms that are being violated, not just for people's humanity, but also it truly just cheapens the value of it.
So it cheapens the value of it. It changes the value that the Presidential Medal of Freedom has just because he decided to give it in the State of the Union address. Now, mind you, many of these are given after death. They're given in memorial. But we should dignify this and say that it's cheapening it just because it wasn't given in its own ceremony. You know, fine, we'll argue that maybe it should have deserved its own ceremony. That's fine. But I don't agree with the fact that it cheapens the award. It is a extremely dignified award. You have to think about this a little bit, and obviously they've not given a consideration to who's received this award in the past. If you do some research, you know, AOC and her crew says that business owners and billionaires are an issue, but I didn't hear anyone speak out when Bill Gates was given the award by President Obama. Or what about the one he gave to Warren Buffett? I mean, I thought billionaires and business owners and rich people were a problem in our country. Isn't that what you've heard? Or what about the outcry when Oprah and Ellen both received their awards from Obama? I didn't hear anything there. If you want to talk about cheapening the award, President Obama gave out 123 of these awards. It was the most ever given in a presidency. The official description of the Presidential Medal of Freedom says it is awarded by the President of the United States to individuals that have made exceptional contributions to the security or national interest of America, or to cultural or other significant public or private endeavors. The left is going to argue that Rush Limbaugh didn't deserve the award because of hateful speech and actions. They want to crucify Trump for things that he's done in his past, but they had no issue with Michael Jordan receiving the award. I mean, seriously, think back in the early 2000s, Jordan was exposed for having paid a female to keep a relationship private. This is something the leftists complained about and said we could impeach Donald Trump for, but they didn't complain about that when Jordan received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In fact, let's go down through the list and look at this a little bit. I mean, this is an exemplary award. I mean, this is putting somebody on the level of Rosa Parks, remember? So let's talk about this. Back in the Obama presidency, when he was giving out these awards, I mean, giving them out like candy, he gave one to Emilio Estefan and Gloria Estefan. What have they done besides make music? Barbara Streisand, James Taylor, Diana Ross, Bruce Springsteen. I mean, because you know Bruce Springsteen has really done a lot for America, like Rosa Parks. We can continue on down the list. President Obama, again, gave these things out like candy. It wasn't like that there was really anything you had to do. Seemingly, you just show up at the White House, get in line, and he'll give you a Presidential Medal of Freedom. But we have a problem now when we're giving it to a conservative. What's the problem? Well, the problem is the left has the mindset that only someone from the left can be normalized. If you are on the right in any way, shape, or form, you deserve to be canceled. You deserve to be cast out. You cannot be in your right mind. It is no wonder conservatives do not want to speak out. We have conservatives in Hollywood, conservatives in business, conservatives all over this country. They don't want to speak out. They're normal until they do. You're a normal person until you speak out and say, I stand for conservative values. Then all of a sudden you're canceled. It's just not safe to come out as a conservative. There are only two ways for someone on the right to be normalized. A conservative can't be considered in their right mind or normal. What are those two ways? Well, one is to go against the right. My example here, Mitt Romney. I mean, this week we said we'd talk about it a little bit. Mitt Romney voted for the impeachment of President Trump. The left has praised Romney. They have sung his praises over and over again in the media throughout the week. Or let's think about Justin Amash, the Republican that's turned independent because he didn't want to be a conservative, didn't want to align with Trump. That's one of the ways. You got to turn against the right. You got to take a stand and support the left. What's the second way? Well, the only other way to be normalized by the left is to die. They done the same thing with John McCain. They called him crazy. They called him way out there in left field. Yeah, John McCain had some crazy ideas, but he was a military veteran. He was a military hero and deserved respect. They disrespected him all the way up to the point that he died, and then everyone comes out and says, oh man, John McCain was such a great guy. I'm sorry, those shouldn't be the only two ways you can be normalized. Do I have an issue with Limbaugh winning the Medal of Freedom, the Presidential Medal of Freedom? No, not at all. He's contributed a lot to society, and it's up to the president and his discretion of who receives the award. I think Limbaugh could be argued that he has done a lot for society. He's done a lot for the conservative movement. I do have a problem with the left attacking and disrespecting a man that has cancer like this, and for their mindset of how they normalize conservatives. But we've come to expect this from a group of people that can dish these kind of harassing comments out, but they can't take it. The left has an issue with Trump and Limbaugh attacking them. They can't stand it. They hate them for it. They say they're mean, they're racist, they're bigoted. They use all these adjectives to describe conservatives that speak out against the left. The conservatives are told they should back down and not say the things they do. There was an article I read this week that talked about how President Trump should just keep his mouth shut, let Nancy Pelosi say what she wants to say, and he should just sit there and take it. They want to continually attack conservatives, but then they want to cry foul when you attack them back. We can't just sit here idly by and stay silent. We talk about that a lot here at The Closet Conservative, that the purpose behind our podcast, the purpose behind our articles that we write is that we want conservatives to realize you don't have to be trapped in the closet. Mainstream public will tell you it's not safe to come out. They'll say it's not safe for you to speak out, but you should. We can't help it that the left is acting childish every time we try to talk to them or interact with them. Look at their speaker. When you look at her and her childish actions in ripping up the State of the Union address, it's no wonder that all of them follow suit and act like a bunch of 2-year-olds.
This is the Closet Conservative Podcast. All material copyright The Closet Conservative. Music courtesy of Greg Shields Music. Remember to subscribe to our podcast to receive all the latest episodes. We can also be found online at closetconservative.net or on Facebook and Twitter.